What if embracing your true self meant losing everything you held dear? My journey into witchcraft wasn't just a spiritual awakening, it was a devastating rift that tore my family apart. I never imagined my own aunt would disown me for following my heart, but that's exactly what happened. My name is Elena Morgan, and this is my story. The apartment was quiet except for the faint hum of my refrigerator and the soft, rhythmic purr of my cat, Sage, stretching lazily in the corner. I sat cross-legged on my faded corduroy couch, a blank notebook open on my lap. The page stared back at me like an accusation, proof that I had nothing meaningful to write down. It wasn't that my life was bad. I had a job at a graphic design firm that paid the bills. Friends who invited me out on weekends. Family dinners every other Sunday. But it all felt muted. Like I was living underwater, watching life pass above me without breaking the surface. I tried everything to fill the void: Sunday church services, guided meditation apps, yoga retreats, even a questionable online personality quiz that promised to reveal my true soul path. But the answer never came. And the question, the what am I missing, only grew heavier. That evening, as I aimlessly scrolled through videos, one thumbnail stopped me. A woman stood in the middle of a forest clearing, dressed in flowing linen, candlelight dancing around her. Her voice was calm but firm. Magic is not about tricks, it's about connection. My thumb hovered over the screen. I hit play. The video was only 5 minutes, but it felt like she'd spoken an ancient truth directly into my chest. She talked about nature, energy, and intention like they weren't abstract ideas, they were real, tangible forces you could shape with your own hands. That night, I spiraled. Page after page of search results: modern witchcraft, paganism, folk magic traditions. The deeper I read, the more the words seemed to hum under my skin. 2 days later, I found myself at a local herb shop I'd passed 100 times but never entered. The air inside was heavy with the scent of lavender and sage bundles. I bought a beeswax candle, a bundle of rosemary, and a second-hand book on herbal magic. That night, I lit the candle on my kitchen counter. I held the rosemary in both hands, the way the book instructed, and whispered a simple intention for clarity. My skin prickled, not from fear, but recognition. It was as if something ancient in me had woken up. Over the next weeks, my walks in the park became rituals. I noticed the way the wind shifted before a rainstorm, how moss clung to the north side of trees, how the moon's light seemed different in each phase. It wasn't just going outside anymore, it was listening. And in listening, I started to hear something I couldn't quite name, a gentle, wordless invitation to keep going. By the time Thanksgiving rolled around, I'd been practicing for nearly 6 months. My altar, just a small wooden shelf, had grown to hold crystals, candles, and pressed flowers. It made me happy. It made me feel whole. But every time I thought about telling my family, a knot formed in my stomach. My parents were fairly neutral about spirituality, but my Aunt Margaret, my mother's sister, was the family matriarch. She was a church deacon, the unofficial judge of everyone's moral compass. Still, I couldn't keep hiding. I wanted to share this part of myself. When I called her, she answered in her usual clipped tone. After some small talk, I took a deep breath. Aunt Margaret, I wanted you to know that I've been practicing witchcraft. The silence was immediate and heavy. You what? Her voice was sharp, almost trembling. It's not what you think, I rushed to explain. It's nature-based, about intention and energy. It's evil, Elena. Her voice cracked like a whip. Do you have any idea what you're getting yourself into? You're walking away from God. I tried to explain about the herbs, the moon cycles, the grounding I felt, but her face was set like stone in my mind. The more I spoke, the more I felt her pulling away. Finally, she said, "If this is who you are now, then I don't know you anymore. And I don't want to." It felt like the floor gave way beneath me. The days after that phone call were unbearably quiet. I kept expecting my phone to buzz with a message from Aunt Margaret, telling me she'd overreacted. But it didn't. Instead, I noticed the absence of her presence everywhere. She had a way of filling space, even from a distance, her voice in the background during family calls, her opinion dropping into conversations whether you wanted it or not. Now there was only silence. Thanksgiving came and went. Normally, she hosted in her sprawling old house, the smell of her famous sweet potato casserole drifting down the street before you even reached her porch. This year, my invitation must have been lost in the mail. Christmas was worse. My parents went to her house without me, claiming they didn't want to stir trouble. They sent me pictures of the dinner table, everyone laughing, glasses raised. But I saw it, the empty chair at the far end where I'd always sat. I spent Christmas Eve with Lila, my best friend, making gingerbread cookies and pretending I didn't care. She could tell I did. "She's missing out, you know," Lila said, shoving a crooked cookie into my mouth. "She thinks she's protecting something sacred, but she's just losing you." I started journaling every night. Not just about my practices, but about the ache in my chest. I wrote about the way my aunt's voice echoed in my mind, the way her words, "I don't know you anymore," felt like they had sliced through something vital. When it became too heavy, I'd take my journal into the park, sit under the bare winter trees, and read over my intentions from months before. Clarity. Belonging. I told myself that belonging didn't have to mean family. Without my aunt, the rhythm of life felt uneven. Family birthdays were awkward. My parents would visit her and then call me afterward, voices tinged with guilt. I wanted to scream, "You're choosing her comfort over my existence." But I didn't. Instead, I poured my energy into my craft. I studied lunar cycles, learned to blend teas for focus and calm, practiced small spells for protection. Witchcraft wasn't just something I did, it became the way I moved through the world. One night, after a particularly frustrating phone call with my mother, another half-hearted attempt to smooth things over, I slammed my phone down and let the tears fall. "I'm so tired of making myself small so other people can be comfortable," I told Lila later over coffee. She nodded like she'd been waiting for me to say it. "That's it, babe. That's the spell you've been working on this whole time, making yourself impossible to ignore." Months passed. The grief dulled, but it never disappeared. Still, something unexpected took root in the space my aunt had left empty: self-acceptance. For the first time, I wasn't shaping myself to fit someone else's mold. I dressed how I wanted. I spoke openly about my spirituality to people I trusted. And I found a community, an eclectic circle of local witches and pagans who welcomed me like I'd always belonged. We met under the full moon in the park, shared food and stories, and celebrated each other's milestones. It wasn't the same as blood family, but it was mine. If you've ever been cut off from someone you love because of who you are, whether for your beliefs, your identity, or your truth, you know the particular sting it leaves. It's not just rejection. It's a rewriting of history, like the love they gave you only counted under certain conditions. I've learned the hard way that your worth isn't determined by someone else's ability to accept you. Blood may be thick, but it's not always warm. Your chosen family, the people who see you fully and still choose you, can be just as vital as the one you were born into. Maybe even more so. I've built a circle of people who celebrate my wins, hold me through my losses, and never question my worth. They're not bound to me by blood, but by choice. That, I've realized, is the deepest magic there is. As for my aunt, the door's open, but I'm not waiting on the doorstep anymore. If she ever decides to see me as I am, I'll be here. But my life, my joy, doesn't hinge on her approval. In the end, witchcraft didn't take me away from my family. It brought me home to myself. If my journey has taught me anything, it's this: your truth is worth living, even if it costs you people you thought would love you forever. Family isn't just blood, it's the souls who choose you and stand beside you, no matter what path you walk. If you've ever been rejected for who you are, know this: you are not broken, you are not alone, and your magic is still yours. If my story resonated with you, please share it, leave a comment with your own experience, and let's build a circle of support right here. And if you want to walk this journey with me, through the beauty, the heartbreak, and the power of living authentically, hit subscribe and join our growing community. Your voice matters. Your story matters. And I can't wait to hear it.